Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back as we return to the world of Ysterra, as we return to a story involving a group of friends that have found adventure in the lands surrounding the great grand city of Orlustran. These potentially simple folk, or what they thought may have been just simple folk, and now are starting to learn just how special they are, have discovered a great many things in their adventure thus far, that there is a world well far and beyond the Valorian Imperium with which they have called home their entire lives. This world that exists beyond their continent's borders now maybe is within reach for them. But they have a lot of work ahead of them if they want to find those great distances. So they have returned from their adventures, returned to the Orlustran, to the canals of Orlustran, where they hope that they can determine all that they need to prepare, all that they need to do, all that they need to gather in order to fix this airship that they discovered crashed in the mountains to the north. Their return to Orlustran, however, was not met without its own dramatic influences. They discovered some connections between individuals that they had no idea knew each other. They found that their hasty departure from the city to go off on an adventure that had taken much longer than they anticipated left behind questions from many of the people that they knew. Left behind uncertainty from those people that they now have come face to face with. Perhaps we'll get to explore a little bit more of that and those people in the adventures to come. But now, for now, we find our friends gathered up at the breakfast table, or the only table, perhaps, in the tiny apartment of the twins Mira and Adi. All have gone on their short 20-minute excursions away and have returned, come back together with coffee or juice or water in hand. Some perhaps recovering a little bit from the previous night's drunken debauchery. You should watch the VOD if you really want to know about all of that. And we find ourselves now at this table. My friends, there you are. 80, probably the most recent to come to the table, as she had been hiding in her bedroom after being handed a message from Violet.
I was taking a break, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we need those things. But here you sit. What would you like to do?
Okay, so
Just me? Everyone?
what are we
All of you. All of you.
Okay, okay, great.
what are we doing today?
I was hoping you would know.
Yeah, I don't have the right connections for a lot of the things that we need to get done, but
Okay. You're clearly my sister. Can we make a list? Can we just write out the items we need? Then maybe we can figure out who we can talk to or not talk to.
I mean this list that
Yeah.
Full
just
notebook.
yes, yeah.
There's a lot that needs to be done.
I mean some of it's translation, but there's a lot.
So, I think one of the things that we may need to hash out is we're not going to be able to collect and do these things, just the four of us. we're gonna have to make a very serious decision about who we ask for help.
Yeah.
I mean, did you have anybody in mind?
Did I? Maybe. It's a little early to say.
We're literally planning this right now. I think it's exactly the right time to say.
Do you want me to say it? Because I'll say it.
No, you know what? Actually, I was so wrong. I was so super wrong, and we probably shouldn't say anything ever again.
I think before we ask anybody for help, I think we need to know what we're asking them to help with. I think we probably need more information on what we're trying to do. Like, I know Mira's trying to translate what she has, but maybe she had mentioned going to the library, seeing if there's any other research on airboats, airships, stuff like that. I don't know. I feel like information is our biggest thing that we're lacking right now, and we can't just walk up to somebody and be like, hey, do you want to join our airship? Like, if this is crazy, this is absolutely nuts.
Yes. I feel like there was some subtext in some of what was happening here. So thanks, Vi, for getting us back on track. I did categorize a few of the things that we need. When
did you do this?
I don't know. It was
really hammered last night.
No, it wasn't last night. I did a lot of it while we were walking back.
From the bar?
Yeah, no. From the ship.
Oh, gotcha.
This hasn't been like one night's worth of work. I've been working hard on this, and I feel undervalued right now.
No.
Anyway. Okay, so considering who we need, I think some of my notes will make some of that clear. So first, I made a list of some of the damage, right, that we have to address before we can get this thing in the air. We are gonna need some sort of skilled metal worker to fix one of the ship's wings because that's damaged. So keep that in mind. Anybody know a skilled metal worker? I don't know. 80, you had that. You've worked a bunch of different jobs. I don't know. Bren,
Thanks
maybe
for
you know
bringing it up again. Yes, I have.
people. I don't know who you know. Anyway, the main sail is ripped. We're gonna need some supplies for that. I crawled through the hole in the hull. That's gonna need a lot of wood, which brings me to the point that we're gonna need some sort of carpenter because I don't think any of us can patch that well enough. So we're up to a skilled metalworker and a carpenter. Or
I got some light carpentry skills. I'm not just hanging around the farm.
Have you built a
pigeons.
boat before?
No, I mean, what is it to build a boat or a wall or a fence? It's wood, right?
Sure. Yes.
Thank you.
I mean, I've been fixing my boat for the past 2 years, and I think I've been doing an okay job. I could do it.
Okay. Great. If you think that will hold us in the air, wonderful. We also need some components for the engine. There is this is where it gets tricky because there's some other stuff that we're going to need that I'm not quite sure where to find the materials from yet. So like maybe once I go to school, I'll figure that out. We are going to need, okay, I've already mentioned carpentry, blacksmithing or metalwork, glass making probably because there's portholes on the ship that we need to figure out. So anyway, we have to figure out how to fix these things first, and then we need the materials to take with us in case things break along the way. So we don't need just the stuff to fix it, we need more than that. So who knows how we're going to pay for this? I don't know. Then we need all of the magical stuff, translation materials, crystals, wands, orbs, stuff to send spells, spell components, things to, we kind of figured out that it's traveling along these ley lines. So like figuring out how to detect the ley lines would be nice. We're going to also need things like food and water and medical supplies and tools and personal gear like clothes and things. So
Okay. Just holy shit. First of all, well done. Congratulations on your beautiful brain.
It's a very good comprehensive list of things.
Thank you. Thank you for doing that.
I am projecting value to your work right now.
I appreciate you so much, Mira.
Now I just feel like you're patronizing me.
There's no winning. Okay. Sorry, 80. You
just that is a very, very long list. I don't have a job, so money is a good question. Not exactly. Why are you making that face?
Just kind of wanted to wait on this, but I can pay for it.
Do tell.
What are you farming out there?
Correct. So when we were on the ship, we were looking around, and I just come out and say it. I happened to come across a treasure trove. I told Vi about it. I didn't tell you guys about it because I didn't want anybody buying any more tapping shoes. But yeah, he pulls out a bag, and then he opens it, and he just like kind of shells out like these gold pieces. So this is what I have on me, and there's like a whole nother trunk full of it. So we can pay for this, kind of.
Really glad you told this to us now. Here's the thing. I don't think that we can just show up to someone's shop and be like, here are these coins that you've never seen before.
Right, but we need to find ourselves a blacksmith and metalworker, right? They have a forge. 80, why don't you take up another internship for a little bit of time? Follow me here. Take up another internship for a little bit of time. You don't have a job. We need to figure out resources. We need to figure out how to do this. Obtain some skills in some light forgery. And we can take these coins and we can...
I've already taken that internship. Thank you very much.
Okay, here, fine. Milk
Wesson
this.
Smithy, I was there for, I think, 6 weeks, something along those lines.
I pull a little like pin out of my hair and I'm like, see, she made this.
It's beautiful. I'm saying pin work and...
melting metal, it's so easy. Throw it in the fire. Done. I did it.
Hands you a coin. Do it.
I don't have a fucking forge here. Have you seen this place?
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Jeez Louise. I can try to do that. I have a decent relationship with the blacksmith, but I mean, like, if I just show up with these coins that are clearly not from around here, like,
come on. I think we're beyond the point of this. You all know how to be sneaky. Come on. The main idea is to access to tools and supplies to be able to do this.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I can do it. I don't know. You're being aggressive and it's freaking me out.
How am I being aggressive?
I don't know. I'm just freaked out.
There was a concern of payment. We have payment. Now it's a problem. Now I'm starting to feel undervalued.
What are you going to do? Well, 80's off taking another internship.
Well, we need to figure out somebody who can fix the sails, right? Some of where I live, some of their harvest kind of goes to help weaving with that. I have some small connections potentially to where I can talk to a weave worker, what have you. Work some charm or something. Also, when it comes to food and medical supplies, I have a farm. So there's that. Glass, not so much. That one's gonna be a bit for me personally, but I think the biggest thing is figuring out that engine. That one's not gonna be as easy as your common materials.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back to Occam and sneak into the library. Yep. Okay.
I don't know how else I can help. Do you guys have any ideas?
I may need your support for when I go to my connection. Kind of the same way. Yes. You aren't the only people that I know. I have
yeah, but this is a conversation we're having. Just curious.
I'm good. No. So apparently last night when we were having fun, you guys had asked about a friend of mine. Why are y'all looking at me like that?
Tamara?
Yeah, Tamara. That's my connection.
Are you going to tell us more about Tamara?
Do I have to?
Yes.
I mean, enough so that we can trust them.
Tamara's a friend who wasn't always a friend. Yeah.
Were they your ex-lover? Are we just filling the boat with our ex-lovers?
I'm not bringing this person
seems
with.
like...
Wait, hell no, I'm not bringing this person with. Honestly, I'm pretty sure if I showed up asking for a favor, she'd toss me on my butt before I could even open my mouth. But it's worth a try. And they're very skilled, extremely skilled.
Do they have a decent amount of discretion?
Yes.
Well, with all the secrets you keep.
There's been 3 secrets so far. I'm not in the middle of the street fussing with mine.
Yeah, well. That just showed up on my doorstep, so.
Yeah, and I'm about to show up on there, so I'm sure I can sympathize. Right now feels like a good time, matey. Just throw it out there.
You don't know my history with the blacksmith. That's all I'm saying.
All right. Mira, your friend, lover, boyfriend, what have you, they've obviously had some time sailing, and they seem to have a lot of time doing it. I'm just going to say it. I think it would be best if they came with us.
No.
Think about it.
No.
Nope.
That's all the time I need to think about it. That is the worst idea that I've ever heard come out of your mouth. And that includes telling us that we should maybe consider flying an airship.
Mm-hmm. That's understandable. That's perfectly fine. Who else do we directly know that you personally, and I'm just focusing this at you. You have the brightest mind out of all of us. Right? But even that mind isn't enough to man this. With all the genius that you hold in there has to be a small section.
This city is full of people, and we are on canals, so I'm sure we can find somebody.
But finding somebody.
How about that gondolier that I took out last night? That seems like a good option. Let's go take him along.
Your frustration is valid in this, and I truly mean it. And I respect the fact that this is not an easy thing to think about. What I'm asking is that you just think about it. In a reasonable and logical sense, we will deal with the emotional when we can. Not when we're on the boat. That's not when we can. But seriously think about it.
I mean, to be fair, the emotional is always connected. Okay, like there's no way around that. let's just move on from that topic and
It
go
had to
somewhere
be said. I'm
else.
sorry. That's fine.
Could I
Oh,
just say
good.
one thing about it though? Like,
Yeah.
just one thing. During their conversation, if I know my sailing terms, he did mention that he was a bosun, which is a ship's carpenter. And I'm not saying
And
I'm not
there's
saying
probably
and I'm not
some
saying
sort of
Yeah.
cavalcade of ship's bosuns that they are a part of, and I can ask them for someone else's name.
absolutely. But could you imagine being their boss? You're just-
Violet,
Think about it?
You're just hiring them.
Don't.
You imagine just you don't have. They're just a member of the crew.
Violet, I don't understand why 80 kept us apart for so long, because I just really like the way that you think.
Hey, you know what? I just had a really great idea. Bren, you've got all of that coin, and that'll be very helpful. You also have another coin that could be very, very helpful in terms of getting us access to these absurd things that we need. So if you want to, think about putting people in vulnerable situations and maybe doing things that are uncomfortable for the sake of this journey, I don't know, we could talk about that too. Or we don't have to. That's fine.
That seems like a quicker and less conspicuous way of getting us some of the things we need.
They're not wrong, Jawline.
I was being bitchy, but I know that it's difficult. But if
That's
you're
why I'm not saying
asking
anything.
Mira
That's
to
what I'm
do
not saying.
something difficult,
And it's completely valid. Yes, putting everyone in an uncomfortable situation. There is a slight difference, though. I don't hold an emotional connection to that.
bullshit.
I don't. And
You
it's not one
do.
of those things. It's not one of those things to where I don't care about it, because I really don't. Misuse of that could end something more important about me than just a relationship. You understand that? Anything that I ask of any of you does not involve you risking your life. Most of the time, it's me trying to not have you risk your life. Having your ex-partner help us rebuild something does not involve your life. That does.
It does. It does.
Not
It
in the
might not
same
be
regard.
immediate life and death, but it's her life that we would be fucking with.
No, well, and it's easier meant than not being able to wake up the next day. Let's just put it out on the table. Misuse of that will more than likely get me killed.
Well, then we won't use it. Look, you don't want to use it, we can say we won't use it. How simple
But-
is that?
Okay, that's perfectly fine. And again, going back to Mira, if you don't want them with us, then we won't have that. All I'm saying, and all you're asking, going back to 80, going back to Mira, is to think about it. Going back to 80, and I will think about it. And if we need to, I will make a rational decision. Going back to Mira, and I hope you do the same. That's it. Do we know anybody who can make glass?
I could probably find somebody. I know people that know people. I don't know. Nothing for sure though.
Okay. I just think first things first. Mira, obviously you need to show your face around your school. That needs to be the first thing. In conjunction with that, have fun at the library, relax, and whatever you can muster up in information, it would be helpful. 80, how long do you think it would take for you to go get your internship back up and running?
I mean, I don't think I need a whole internship for it. I think, favors and all that.
Beautiful. The sooner you can let us know that we have access to a forge, the sooner we can convert this gold into something safer.
Sure.
Violet, again, I'll probably need your support to go talk to Tamara. I don't think it'll be that crazy as Smith Weathersby. That's what you need to do. You need to go speak to them today.
No, it was the day. It's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow. Okay.
It's tomorrow.
Okay.
I do think you could ask her if there's recipes for less perishable things that she knows that she could teach you. I don't know. I feel like that's a good idea.
Yeah, for sure.
Does anyone else miss Tig?
Yeah.
I hope they're doing all right up there.
Me too. I also missed their coffee. It was so good.
We can make coffee.
Yeah, but come on. Tig just had that.
It was really good.
It was just ridiculous. Okay. Do you all need anything from me?
Maybe? I don't know.
Okay. It's just because there was a lot of pointing and shooting in that last little bit. It wouldn't be fair if I didn't ask.
I get protective of people, and you, Mr. Bearman, probably understand that impulse. So, forgive me for my shitty attitude. I'm glad we were able to come to a resolution.
There's no reason to apologize for it. That's what happens when you have family. Bats happen. It is what it is. And if it was personal, we wouldn't be family. And that's Mr. Bearman to you.
Mister? That feels like a step backwards.
Would you prefer Daddy Bearman?
Yeah, I would.
Yes. 100%.
That backfired on me. All right. This is great.
Daddy Bearman. You don't need that coin walking around the street with that name. Hoo-wee.
This truly did backfire on me. Okay, I'm fine.
We're family. This is what family does.
Yeah, that's why it's funny and not embarrassing.
Uh-huh.
I'll do it again right now. I think you still have some.
Just not while you're on our chair. We only have a few.
Nope. I do it where I'm at. I can do it. Here we go.
No.
As soon as I cross my arms, that's it.
Don't.
I'll do it.
Ren?
All right.
Smack his arm.
I'll save it.
Okay, so I'm going to the blacksmith. Mira, do you want to come with me and then I can go with you? Is that better? Is that worse?
No, I just need to go. I'm gonna try to talk to Professor Evander and sneak into the library. I don't really want to make a big. I have no idea what's waiting for me there, so I'll just.
Yeah. Well, it's not that far, so if you need me, call me, no matter where you are, no matter how far. Brad, where are you going? Getting Tamara? Is that happening?
Yeah, I may start by speaking to them, saying hello before asking for a favor.
I'll
Cool.
go with you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
All right,
I guess one
hands
last.
in, everybody.
We're doing this now. Okay.
Yeah, it's happening. Mira,
Daddy Bearman on 3?
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Daddy Bear.
Daddy Bear Man.
Hey.
Bear paw.
Damn it.
The chair breaks.
As the chair breaks under the weight of Bren's bear form, I'd like to take a moment and say thank you so much. Welcome in, Raiders. Jay, Lord Gazumba, brought a whole mess of people with him to enjoy the shenaniganery that we are up to. You just missed a little bit of a family squabble, we'll call it. But things are better now. Don't worry. I'm sure the dramas will continue at some point in a little bit. Thank you so much for dropping in, Jay and everyone. Oh, Bringal, nice to see you, man. So, as you all gather yourselves up, I'm curious if there's a specific, like, what is the most pressing thing that you all want to do?
Like individually, or just in what we?
No,
just
as
came
a
up
group, what do you think is the most pressing thing that needs to be handled, like, right away?
Mira.
Yeah.
Going to school. Mira right now.
with right now?
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we keep dodging it. We got it. We got to deal with it
Well,
now.
rip off the Band-Aid. You know, it's going to
There
suck.
it is. Yeah.
So, like, let's just get that out of the way. And then, you know.
Okay. So then, Mira, you gather up a few things, may or may not need, not entirely sure, and start heading off to Occam.
Yes. So I'm gonna grab just my backpack and a notebook and whatever else I think I might need. Maybe an assignment that I had finished and was supposed to be due, and try to turn it in while I'm there. But before I get to Occam, I want to stop at my favorite cafe, which is called the Leaf and Letter, because the Leaf and Letter offers what they call a tea service, and for the tea service, they have patrons go into a little side room. It's a cafe and bookstore, and they ask the patron a couple of questions, and people often come in for tea service when they're looking for help making a decision or feeling stuck or things like that. So the barista asks a couple of questions and then brings a blend of tea and selects a book, and so Mira wants to do that before she gets to school, and she will presumably sit down at the table and just sort of, before the barista even asks any questions, and she's just like, I'm really overwhelmed, and I have some hard conversations ahead, and I don't know, there's a lot going on.
The barista, a human woman around the same age as Mira, someone that she probably hasn't seen here before, because they're a pretty decent sized place, and so there's always people like coming in. This is kind of like a second gig or a gig job for some folks at a university or such, and she just looks at you and nods and says, "Chime in, coming right up." And she heads off to, I'm assuming you're here alone, by the way, that this is just Mira, no one else came with?
Correct.
She returns a short time later. The little side room that you're sitting in has a nice broad window that overlooks the adjacent canal to the Leaf and Letter, and there's a certain calmness about the place. There's a soft twinkling of music in the air as well, something that they provide as like an additional soothing mechanism for the many people that come to this place looking for an escape. She returns a short time later with the chai mint freshly prepared and a steaming kettle of water for you.
I'll sit there and sip the tea for a little bit. And when she comes back, I will ask her if she's got any books on old magic.
I think we can find something. And she heads off, returns a short time later, and there is a small, maybe 4 inches by 6 inches, leather-bound book. She sets it down. You can feel that the binding of the book is actually wood wrapped in leather, and the twine that is used has a certain like citrusy smell to it. So as you crack open the book, there's like this waft of citrus aromatics that come off of it. There's no writing on the cover or anything, but inside you see a single bright page. For a book this obviously old, it seems to be either well taken care of or not read very often, or maybe a combination of both. And there's a certain stiffness to it as you open it up and see this perfectly preserved white page that says, "All things clerical." And there's a certain shiver that goes up your spine from reading that term, but it's a phrase that you've heard very, very often from your upbringing. Your mother very frequently would talk about the arcane arts in such terms as that. And your father, of course, had he had a book such as this, which he probably had several times in her youth, Mira would have very much heard him gushing and awing over every page, every paragraph, every word within it. Doesn't take very long for Mira in just perusing the book to understand that this book is much more than a simple tome about ancient magics. It's a warning. It's several different recitations from various authors. There's no credited author, but you can tell just from the writing within it and the difference in the pages of each writing that different people contributed to this book. And most of them talk greatly about the difficulties of not just using arcane magic, not just harnessing that power, but the dangers of it as well.
Does it feel similar to the sermons that she's heard at convocation, or is it?
No.
Okay.
As much as the sermons at convocation rankle Mira, that rankling has more to do with the fact that they're required than anything else, and they take the entire day, right? The sermons at convocation often leave Mira feeling very hopeful. She gets kind of caught up in them, even though she doesn't want to. The speakers are very frequently like wonderful orators and talk about very detailed things within the art of Arcana. And yes, there is a certain religiosity to it, but that doesn't necessarily make it wrong. But the book that she holds in her hands now, she's very much reminded of some of the debates that her mother would have, particularly those with her father.
Mira takes as much time as she can before the tea starts to get cold, and she thumbs through the book a little bit, she feels kind of a wave of comfort from the tea and from the nostalgia the book brings of remembering these debates that Mom and Dad used to have. And she'll tuck it into her backpack, and with the warning kind of at the forefront of her mind.
Before she tucks it into her backpack, there's a page that strikes her as she's finishing up her tea. She's reminded as she reads it. She doesn't know why. But all of a sudden, she feels as though Torin is his voice in her head as she reads the page. And it talks in detail about dangers sometimes being necessary. That would be impossible because this book is obviously significantly older than Torin was.
I think she'll like hold it close to her chest for a minute and remember the conversation she had with Professor Evander before she left, and his comments that seemed a little similar to that. And she'll tuck it into her bag, and she'll pay for the tea service. And she'll just sort of like take a deep breath and fortify herself, not knowing at all what she's about to get into. And she's gonna, once she gets to Occam, she's gonna try to go to Professor Evander's office first.
Okay. You spent a good fair amount of time at Leaf and Letter, reading the book and having tea. Probably felt very good, even though some of the content of that book was troubling. It still was at least a semblance of normalcy back in Mira's life. The moment that she sees Occam, the moment that she sees the grand cathedral, the hundreds of foot tall cathedral, her pulse starts to quicken. She feels the tension in her shoulders and in her neck. And just walking on to the grounds of this hallowed space, seeing the sheer volume of people moving to and fro about their daily lives, and remembering the last time that she was here. There's a great deal of trepidation as she takes every step towards it.
I think she puts her hood up and tries to blend in a little bit to...
So we need to clarify something. Remember, in this society, wearing your hood up is considered a bad thing.
Yeah.
It makes you stand out more wearing your hood up.
That's right.
Just as a reminder. But if your intention is trying to lay low, trying to blend in and the sort, you can absolutely do that with your demeanor, clutching your bag a little bit tighter, hunching your shoulders in, keeping your eyes down, moving at pace. Like, those are all absolutely feasible things to do. But if you pull your hood up, that's going to be more, that's going to be worse for you. Go ahead and give me, we'll call it a persuasion check, because I don't feel like she's deceiving anyone per se. We'll call it a persuasion check using wisdom. So instead of your charisma modifier, you add your wisdom modifier.
13.
Okay. There's a lot of people here. It's fairly easy to blend in. You get through the main doors of the hall. You make it all the way to the wing that houses Occam, that houses the university. No one notices you in the slightest. You said your destination was?
Professor Evander's office.
Okay. You know that Professor Evander's office is several floors up in this enormous place of learning. So you kind of stress a little bit about trying to get there without anyone seeing you. Sure enough, as you enter the teaching wing, basically the floor where the vast majority of the teachers' private offices are, it's not unheard of for students to be up here, of course. Teachers frequently invite their students to their offices to discuss all manner of things related to the school. But you spot your abjurations professor at the end of the hall, and they see you. And you lock eyes for several moments, enough so that Mira stops dead in her tracks. And she knows that it's now been 3 weeks since she attended class. There's a stern look upon their face, and very, very plainly, Mira is able to see the amount of disappointment in their expression. They just shake their head and turn away from Mira and continue down the hall.
Seeing that, Mira would stand up straighter and kind of be a little bit defiant, because this professor doesn't know why I've been gone for 3 weeks. So the fact that they didn't even ask any questions, like, fine, think what you will.
Sure. You approach Professor Evander's office. Fairly simple door. You know that Evander doesn't abide the decorations and the notoriety that some professors have, where they put all of their titles and such upon the doors to their offices. You know that he is much simpler in that regard. Knock on the door, or you just go in?
I'm just gonna go in.
Okay.
I didn't knock last time, so why knock this time?
You reach down, take the handle, turn it, open the door. You see that the room is empty.
I'm just gonna go in and sit down.
Okay. You go in, close the door behind you. As you're looking around Evander's office, the familiarity of it starts to perhaps cause her to relax a little bit. Her heart rate quiets just a tiny bit. She's still tense because she's not particularly pleased about what this conversation might become. But at the same time, she knows that this is a place that she has been welcomed in before, and Evander is her mentor. Evander is the person that has helped her the most in her studies at Occam. She waits. 20 minutes, 40 minutes, an hour goes by. And then she hears a bit of muffled talk at the door, and it opens. You see Evander standing there, his long, white, decently manicured beard, his very, very short and well-kept hair, his familiar glasses upon the brow of his nose. He steps in, sees you, and just stops and stares at you for several long moments. You see another student standing behind him that is surprised that he stopped, and the student just kind of peeks over Evander's shoulder and looks at you. Evander turns to him and says, "Well, I guess our discussions will have to come on the morrow. Or come and see me this afternoon, I think. I have other matters to tend to," as he looks at Mira. Go ahead and give me an insight check, please.
Oh no, 10.
Evander's hard to read at the best of times, and this time, stone cold. Absolutely no even slightest expression of what he thinks in seeing Mira sitting in the chair. The student behind him just like, oh, okay, and turns and starts walking away. Thank you, Varl, for the bits. Varl coming in strong tonight. Everyone now has an advantage that they can use tonight. Evander steps into the room, closes the door, goes over to one of his shelves, places the books and satchel that he had at his side upon it. He's doing things slowly. You know that he's a meticulous man in general, but Mira can't help but feel that this is slowed on purpose to elongate the tension. He heads over to his desk, and instead of going for his chair, his very, very, very comfortable chair, he sits on the corner of the desk, takes off his glasses, and turns and looks at Mira. So, 3 days, huh?
I brought you that assignment that was due.
And you expect me to turn it into your teacher for you?
Nope.
Would this be the abjurant assignment that was due a week and a half ago?
Yeah, that's the one. I don't think that I'm a student in that class anymore based on the...
well, he's already moved to have you expelled.
Oh, okay. Should have known that was coming.
Luckily for you, the board can't meet for at least another week. So if there's anything that you would like to say to me that I might be able to advocate on your behalf, now might be the time.
Can't really think of anything.
There's nothing that you would like to tell me after having been gone for so many weeks?
Oh, that's not the case. I just think that I don't know if maintaining my place in this school is the path ahead.
I see. He stands up, kind of straightens his robe, turns towards his chair and sits very calmly within it, raises his hands up in front of him and steeples his fingers together. Tell me then what transpired, what changed you in whatever adventures that you've had the past weeks, because I know it wasn't here. I know it wasn't within the city.
I'm going to take out, I had copied out a diagram of some of the magic from the engine. And I'm just going to hand over a piece of paper.
It was probably like 3 or 4 pieces of paper.
Just a part of it.
Over.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And he just kind of looks at it and sheaves through them, looks up at you, and he's not hiding this expression as he looks at you with an extreme seriousness. You make this?
Yes.
He sets it back down on his desk in front of you, not in front of him. That's at least 3 or 4 years beyond your studies. At least.
You know what it is then?
Well, sort of. I know the components of it. I don't know what it's for. But some of that is very potent magic.
That's the biggest understatement you've ever said.
Well, enlighten me then, my dear Mira.
My sister and her friend and I saw something fall from the sky the night of the meteor shower.
Ah, yes, I had heard reports of a shooting star.
We decided to go look for it. This is part of what fell.
A meteor fell from the heavens inscribed with runes of magical protections upon it.
Not exactly a meteor.
All right.
What do you know of other lands beyond the Imperium?
I don't.
They exist.
All right. There's a certain amount of academia around such theories of other places that surely the world as we know it, which we know to be round, has to have other landmasses upon it. But given the seas as treacherous as they are, there is no feasible mechanism by which we could discover that. So how is it then that you have discovered such things in a scant few weeks?
I'm going to pull out, I would have taken one of the maps from the ship.
Okay.
And I think either Kaylee or Yordi's journal. And I'll pull them both out and hand them over.
He pulls the map first. That's the easiest thing for him to grab. The book he just kind of sets aside. He's very drawn to the map, looking it over. None of this looks like the Imperium.
Nope.
This language, the notations upon the map, is certainly not any written language used within our border.
Again, nope.
Just kind of stares at you for a moment before flipping open the journal. Well, I can't read this.
I'm going to pull next out, show and tell, the diamond.
As you pull out the diamond, he stares at it for a very long time. There is a look of profound shock upon his face. You see him reach a hand up to his chest, and one of his fingers starts feeling at a medallion underneath of his tunic. Then he looks up and meets your gaze. Light be upon you. All of this happened in just a few weeks.
Yes. It was quite an experience.
I'm not going to ask you to detail it. What do you need?
What don't I need?
For that, you're going to have to ask them, and he just points up at the heavens. But what can I, a mere mortal, do for you that prayer might not.
I need help understanding this magic. I need help understanding primordial magic.
Right? You should know that there are some within these halls that if you showed some of this to, you would be branded a heretic just for possessing these things.
I know.
The ramifications of which would not be pleasant for you or Adi.
I'm aware of the position of many of the faculty here.
All right. Can grant you access to certain rooms that perhaps you've never seen, with resources within to help you study some of this. But we don't have much time. Once the regions gather and vote on your dismissal, it will be definitive. You will never be able to set foot in these halls again. I might be able to delay that a short period, but I can't delay it indefinitely.
I understand.
I'm certain that coming to me with this is not easy, so I'm not going to push you on it now. But I would ask that in return for this aid, that you share with me what you can at the end of it. Pray on it. Let their light guide you in what you wish to share. That will be good enough for me.
I can agree to that.
I'll put things in motion. Come and see me in the morning before classes, before suns rise, and I'll get you the access that you need.
Am I expected to be in classes in the meantime?
Oh, I think it would be highly ill-advised to attend such a class. Highly ill-advised.
I thought so.
Your time here is coming to an end, Miss Tavish. I cannot wait to see what adventures are on your horizon. Go. I have a lot to do.
You don't happen to know any glass blowers, do you?
The university utilizes a few for the various accoutrements that are necessary for casting spells and the like.
Okay.
I could see.
No, that's all right.
All right, then.
Thank you.
Come back to me in the morning.
You can
And
count
be
on it.
careful as he hands the book and the map, folding the map so that it can't be seen, back to you.
I will leave and head back toward the apartment by way of the smithy to see if I can track down Edie on my way home.
All right. In the interest of time, going to move things a little bit along here. Over the next several days, you venture out across the vast canal islands of Orlustra, connecting with people that you know, subtly inquiring about various needs that Mira informed you of, and assessing the difficulties and costs that there will be, all while taking care of perhaps some of the more mundane tasks of returning to Orlustran after having been gone for so long. Whether it be learning new recipes, gaining the trust of the Forge Master, finding out how to procure rare materials, thinking about the various quantities of supplies that you need, or even attempting to find enough sources for the various magical components, you all quickly understand that this endeavor will take a considerable amount of time and thousands of gold pieces. Throughout all of this, however, you do develop an appreciation for living in the third largest city within the Imperium. Orlustran and its many canals, you do not doubt that you will be able to find the vast majority of this, although some will not be quite so easy. One of the most difficult aspects of what you need is finding a metal that is unfamiliar to all of you. There's a particular harness among the damaged components of the Arcanic engine that is made from a magically forged kind of metal, not too dissimilar but mithril, but significantly stronger than it. Mira's studies at Occam within the sheltered shadowed halls, as she comes to call it, even all of that and the translations that she does cannot say exactly what this metal is, but even if they could, the process of forging it does not seem to be among any of the manuals and journals that she connects to. There are specifics to how strong the metal is, as well as the intricacies of the harness itself and what would be required to forge it. And the closest metal that she knows of within the bounds of the Imperium is a rarefied steel called lunar steel. It is a specific ore that is mined under the light of the moons and can only be forged when one of the moons is full. Locations for this steel and its forging processes are a very closely guarded secret. So as you have gathered yourselves, now 4 days later, from that fateful morning in which you contemplated everything before you, where are you all? And what are you doing as you've gathered to talk?
I think we're at the
Good question.
I think we're at the twins' apartment. I feel like that's a good, I don't know, home base because it's further into the city.
Yeah, that's the central hub right now.
Sure, just
This-
invite yourselves over.
As you are gathered up
Just
in this
kidding.
tiny place, Bren, having utilized his meager carpentry skills to repair the chair that his bare butt broke.
Meager? Come
That's your
on.
chair forever now. Like,
Go ahead, roll a
shattered
carpentry
it.
check for me, Ian.
Bare butt.
What is that?
Do you have are you proficient in carpenter's tools?
I have a specific set of skills.
Is carpenter's tools among them?
No, technically no, but I would think
Okay.
being alone on
Do me a
farmer-
favor and roll an intelligence check, please.
He's a dad. He can fix anything with a little duct tape and ingenuity
and a little elbow grease.
and a lot of cussing.
Ha! 19.
Okay.
Wait,
The
I'm
chair
having a
can
moment.
support any of the girls.
Oh damn.
Bren's not overly comfortable sitting in it because he shattered it. It was broken into tiny pieces.
Okay.
After he's done with it, 80 will just casually like try to mend it a little bit using her magic.
You have
Just
the mending,
enough where
you have
it-
the mending cantrip. Okay, that helps. If
Yeah.
you do that, Bran is able to sit in it as well.
Okay, that's great. I won't tell him I did anything.
Okay.
Don't
No, but
mess
this
with
is
his
your
ego.
chair forever now because you broke it and you put it back together. So this is I don't want to risk any of our other chairs.
Yeah, I mean, look at it. It's great. It's look at it. He like
As
puts
he
down
sits
and
in it, and
shakes
it creaks.
As it's not as great as it was, but it's great.
It's great.
Mhm.
You did great, Daddy Bear Man.
That's canon. So you sit down, gathered up to discuss the previous days. 80 certainly is moving right along with her friend at the forge, who she may have had to promise to make a few things for in order to be able to, utilize the resources of the forge. But she's already started in, we'll call it, anonymizing the handful of coins that Ren has. And during this conversation that you all have probably been having for at least a few minutes, 80 would come to the realization that there are thousands upon thousands of these coins, and this might take a while. Andrew, of course, had the day with Mrs. Vi, I should say, had the day with Mrs. Withersby, who was very accommodating and welcoming, in turn for showing her how to make the sweet bun or hot. What did you call the buns from before? I forgot.
It was, well, you called it a hot sweet bun, which or
Okay.
a spicy sweet bun, which I'm totally down
Spicy
for.
sweet bun. Yeah. In exchange for teaching Mrs. Withersby how to make those, Mrs. Withersby happily teaches you how to make a few things that, a few kinds of bread and pastry and such that lasts a bit longer than normal, the kind that are used in river travels and such. And she only presses Vi lightly on going on a journey. Bren, you got some work to do with getting Tamra on your side, but you know that they'll come through in the end. And Mira, at the front of her mind right now, is the problem of lunar steel. So there you sit. You can all tell that Mira has something she wants to say.
You okay over there?
Yes, no. There's so many components that we need that it's great that we live here in a place that we can get most of them. But there's this harness for the engine, and it needs a particular metal. It's called lunar steel. It only gets harvested under the light of the moons, forged when the moon is full. It's really hard to
Spooky.
find. It's really rare. No, it's almost impossible to find a blacksmith that knows how to forge it.
How much of it do you need?
As much as we can get.
I mean,
Why? How do you?
I've heard of it. My mom had a necklace with a pendant, and it was made of lunar steel. But it's probably not enough.
So wait.
Do you-
so do you?
You have the necklace?
No, I don't have it. I think they buried it with my mom, but
Mm.
but she did get it from my dad. And I haven't looked in it, but my dad left a bag of stuff, and I know he kept a journal. There could be, I don't know, information on where he got the necklace at least.
Yeah, it's more of a lead than I have.
I don't know. It seems like a long shot, but that's all I've ever heard of it.
What have we done recently that hasn't been a long shot?
Yeah, that's true. I mean,
Okay.
do you guys want to come over and take a look?
Yeah.
That sounds good.
At some point, though, we do need to stop by the farm. We can do it after. That's fine.
It's on the way,
Yeah,
right?
The barge is technically on the way to the farm.
Yeah.
So you're headed off to Vi's barge then? Okay. You make your way out of the apartments, say hi to Crowbar, who is snoozing away happily on the windowsill. You peek inside the window and see Mr. Babineau asleep at his chair, book, laying across his chest. And you, yeah, absolutely. Ian knows what I'm talking about.
Been there a couple times myself.
You head off towards the canal, get a gondola for the four of you. As soon as you indicate your destination, you can see the trepidation in the gondolier's expression because that's a long boat. And, he looks over you all and tries to assess whether or not you're good tippers, but he is still a civil public servant, so he dutifully starts mustering his way across the city towards the shallows. As you get there, the suns are, of course, starting to set. It's been a long day, and this journey just feels even longer. There's still a little bit of light left, but you quickly find your way across the river. The chain barges take you across into the shallows where Vi's barge is, and there you see it. The somewhat decrepit wreck that is very likely to never honestly make its way back downriver again, but at least it could be good components for the airship, maybe. At least that's what you hope. You find your way on board. Vi leads you below decks. Vi's rat menagerie has grown a couple more additions to the space at this point. And Vi goes off in search of her father's satchel. You find it easily enough in the hidey hole that you keep most of your prized possessions anyway. You open it up, you reach in, you think about your father's journal, you pull it out, realize that this isn't the one you were thinking of. So you think about it again, you reach into the bag, you pull out another one, and this is also not the one you were thinking of. You do this a few more times. All of you see these books just coming out of this bag over and over and over again.
You can just keep handing them to me, and I'll
Mira
just stack up
starts looking through them. Violet lets them go.
Go ahead and give me an investigation check then.
$18.
Okay. You very quickly ascertain that these are the journals of a very well-traveled man. There's a certain quality to the writing too. as you open it and read it, you find the words shifting under your gaze magically, allowing you to read it. Because it's written in a special kind of language that isn't normal. But thanks to Mira's gifts, she is able to read it. If 80 cracks open one of the books, it's complete and utter gobbledygook. It's like reading the written version of Pigeon Tongue. You just have no contemplation of what any of it means. And Mira is, of course, fascinated by it as usual.
You know,
But
you
you
could
have
have
no
picked
idea.
anyone else. You had to pick 80, couldn't read it.
You said hand me the books.
I'm literally just holding them.
Okay,
I'm not snooping.
sure you're not. 80 would snoop, and you know it. Especially after Mira started reading them. So yes, these are well-traveled journals of a well-traveled man, and most of them seem to be detailing places and people and goods. So, Andrew, you're now 6 books in, and you still haven't found the one that you're looking for.
Scott, this.
Are these
I don't
all
know.
your
Well,
dad's? He
what
wrote
does
a
it look
lot.
like? Yeah, maybe we can help or something.
Yeah, he was. He traveled a lot. You know, he wasn't around a lot, but. You know, I found this. When he left, he found this bag, and it was just full of stuff, and I just kept imagining things, and I would reach in, and something would pop out, and it was really cool. Anyways, there was one journal in there that was seen to be a bit more of a personal journal, and that's what I'm looking for. I think I'm just gonna pull it inside out and see what happens. And so she'll reach in and try to pull the bag inside out.
Yep. Violet reaches into the bag. And at this point, you guys are actually paying more attention to Vi and the bag. You know full well that this bag does not look like it could have held all of that stuff. And certainly after what Vi said, you know that there's magic to it. And you see her hand like completely disappear in the bag, like as if it were a black void. And a moment later, she yanks the bottom of the bag through the opening, and you see just a huge amount of things just start pouring, flying out of this bag. You have to duck a little bit as about 20 different books pop out of the bag. A number of personal effects, things that Violet is very familiar with that belonged to her father. And a number of other things that catch Mira and 80's eye, and Bren, his eyes just kind of go wide as Bren, your mind is immediately overwhelmed by the sensation of magical auras that come out of this bag. You very quickly focus on the magical aura of the bag itself, and you know inherently that it was a bag of holding just from looking at it and seeing it, but also your innate understanding of magical artifacts. And in addition to that, Violet, you see the very familiar sending stones that your mother and father used whenever your father was away. There's also another stone that is like a polished agate that Bren can feel the magic of. There's a very unremarkable, simple silver ring that kind of flies out of the bag and starts rolling across the floor, and it gives off this almost musical quality to it as it, bounces across the floor, and Bren just immediately can feel the potency of the magic within it. There's a folded up spyglass, kind of like, what a person sailing uses to see a great distance, that has rings of gold around it and a slight shimmer to it. There's also an asymmetrical cloak that has a ring of silver daggers along its bottom hem, as well as a moss-covered stone statue of a bullfrog. There's this strange crossbow bolt with rainbow-colored fletching and a tip shaped like an eye. And then there are azure and white-colored cloth strips that are adorned with dozens of arcane runic markings. 80 and Mira, I need for the both of you, please, to roll a history check.
$18.
Don't forget you guys have an advantage if you should need it too.
Yeah, I definitely need that.
Thank you, Varl.
Shit. Thanks, Varl. Much better, 17.
Okay. The both of you recognize very clearly the set of white cloth strips are clerical wraps. These cloth white strips are commonplace given to people of arcane power within the clergy. And you recognize them because your mother had a set of them. Except these ones that you see are also stained with blood. Vi, amongst the journals, you very quickly spot the journal that you're looking for, the one that detailed, because you've read all of these at some point. You just can never remember which one is which until you see it. But you find the one that you're looking for that detailed the far off place that your father had gotten the pendant from. A town, a village, somewhere deep, far north, the farthest northern civilization, speck of civilization within the Imperium, a place known as Thaurin's Hollow. The rest of you see all of this stuff as Vi starts flipping through the book.
You had this bag the whole time? This would have helped out with some stuff.
I mean, it's my dad's. It's not mine. I can't just take his shit.
Well, I mean, I get it. You're right. This may help with all the other stuff that we need to move, though.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. In the journal, it says Thaurin's Hollow. It's up north. My dad's been there before, but it seems very far away. What do you guys think?
Well, first of all, I think that this is yours. Your dad left it here. It's yours, Violet.
I just don't know what to do with it all. There's so much in it. It was the stuff that he left that I couldn't sell it. I couldn't pawn it because I thought he'd be back for it.
Yeah.
Well, you don't have to decide what you want to do with it right now. There's plenty of room in that bag.
I mean, is there anything that you guys might want?
No.
What's that face?
No, there's nothing that we would want from it. This is yours. This is not.
Yeah.
mean, it's mine to give away, I guess, if I want to.
Well, we're not. We're gonna be together for a while, right?
Yeah.
So it's not like there's stuff that I can borrow for sure, but I think we all,
I mean, like, the more I'm reading about the Hollow, it seems like it's about a 2-week travel, like up north. Because I feel like
correction, it's like a month away.
Oof.
oof. If we needed to fix the ship, then I don't think we could all go. And the last couple of days, it's been awesome being with you guys, but I honestly felt like I couldn't help. All I did was learn a few recipes from Mrs. Withersby, and Mira went to university, 80s literally blacksmithing. I don't know. I just feel really suffocated and unsafe in the city, and I don't know if it's going to take some time. I feel like maybe I should go.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you want to do. I mean, you don't have to go by yourself, though, right? I mean,
And there's no way that you expect that you should. I mean, we've already been on trips for a long time. What's another one? We have a plan, and let's go execute it. What's going on?
But this is just what I'm feeling. I don't know. Like, there's still so much to do. There's still so much for you guys to figure out, like trying to figure out who's going to fix the ship, how you're going to get my barge up the mountain. And I feel like I'm not helping at all. And I feel like I miss being out in the wilderness, and I miss not looking over my shoulder all the time. I know my dad went back up that way to find more lunar steel, and maybe I could find more about my dad. I don't know. And all that stuff is going to take time. And if it's going to take me a month to get up there, it might take you guys a month to sort out what you have here. Maybe we can meet at the ship once we got everything.
I don't love the idea of sending you off, but I definitely understand how good it feels to be out there. It's free.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure that one of us can't go with you? I can't. I have to stay. But you shouldn't go alone.
I think I'll be faster alone. I think, and she'll reach down and scoop up the sending stones. She'll hand one over to Mira. My parents used to talk to each other when my dad was out through these, and maybe you can figure out how it works, and maybe I can figure out how it works, and I'll keep in touch.
You know we love you, right? Like a lot.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's what makes this really hard and easy at the same time, you know?
Yeah. Well, I mean, we'll talk, right? And
Yeah, every day through those stones. And I might take the bag with me. I don't know how heavy that steel is.
oh my god, yeah.
It's your bag, of course.
But, you know, feel free to take anything else and the barge, you know, it's yours.
Do you need anything? I don't have anything that would help you. Mira's gonna take off her own cloak and wrap it around Violet.
Just promise you won't leave without me.
We couldn't.
Are you kidding?
Girl gang.
I don't know, Jawline, you've been pretty quiet.
Do you really have to go alone? So if you tell me you have to, then I'll accept it. I won't like it. But if this is something you feel you need to do by yourself, then yeah, that's fine. But you don't have to. No one would slow you down. If anything, I could carry the both of us there. Just
Jawline, who's gonna prep all the food? Who's gonna fix our ship, you know, like you did with the chair? They need you here too, you know?
who's gonna take care of you, Vi, though, when you're by yourself?
I've been by myself before. And just knowing that I have people that love me, I think I'll be okay.
I don't like it. I don't accept it. But I have to understand it. And that's fine. If
I think it'll be faster this way. I think it'll just be, we want to get out of here as fast as we can, and it could be dangerous, and I could go a lot faster than you guys. I can go a lot quieter than you guys, and if I can get this done while you guys get everything else set up, I can meet you at the airship, and then we can take off. You know?
That's fine. If you get into anything, even the smallest thing, if you break a nail, you let me know. And I'll be there faster than you can blink. No regrets.
Only stories. I'll check in every day if I can.
You better.
Okay. All right. That's fine. That's fine. We're gonna need help kind of knowing what some of this stuff is, just in case if it can help us while you're away. Do you have any idea of what any of this is? I mean, I could probably figure out some of it, but you've been with it longer.
Honestly, only the sending stones is the only things I've seen my parents use. Everything
Okay.
else is just in the bag. I don't know. But
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Take a look. Like, Jawline, if it's useful, take it,
Can Mira tell if there's anything in the pile that would help Violet?
Well, the only thing that she knows definitively what does, like how any of that stuff works, is the clerical wraps. She's very familiar with them. She knows what they are. She might be a little troubled that there's blood on them, and she knows that they primarily are intended for someone with powerful arcane magic and, assisting in that regard. Ian, go ahead and give me an Arcana check. And because this is attached to your ability, you can use either intelligence or wisdom, whichever's higher.
I'm going to use my advantage just in case.
Okay.
Yeah, that's way better. So it's going to be an 18 using wisdom.
Okay. You inherently know about the little stone moss covered bullfrog, because the magic of it is very natural, and you kind of understand its intentions at, keeping insects away and the like. It's very minor magic. There's not a whole lot to it. The other minor magical items that you can kind of just get a quick sense of just from handling them and looking at them is the bolt. It's got an eye kind of inscribed on it and has some arcane quality to it that allows people to see through the eye. Essentially, you might want to look at it more in depth. So it's a scout's tool, basically. And the spyglass has a very basic function that allows you to either look through the spyglass and see ahead of you, or look through the spyglass and flip a switch and then see everything behind you without having to turn. It doesn't give you any enhanced sight or anything like that. So that's why the magic of it is fairly minor. Amongst the other things, here's the question. Does Mira mention the clerical wraps that she knows what they are?
Yeah.
Okay. So you kind of understand that the clerical wraps probably wouldn't be very much help to Vi. You're not sure how they were helpful to Vi's father, but they also have blood on them. So who knows if they even belong to him. And so you kind of focus your attention on the cloak and the ring. And as you sit down to identify them, you come to understand that the cloak is a cloak of daggers, which allows the person wielding it magically enhanced abilities to sneak, as well as giving them the ability to summon daggers into their hands to use as weapons at will, basically. Which, if there's danger, of course, that would be extremely helpful to Vi. It feels like it was probably meant for Vi, to be perfectly honest. If in this moment, if you put yourself in her father Reed's shoes, this was probably meant to be a gift for Vi at some point. And as you go to pick up the ring and try to get a sense of the ring, you hear a noise, an unexpected thud from above that snaps your attention. All of you instantly, your pulse quickens, and you hear the scrape and shuffle of someone struggling on the deck above you.
Were you expecting visitors?
No. No, not at all.
I can go check it out.
No. I'll do it. He looks over to Vi, hands her the cloak. Here, this is for you, and I'll explain it later. And I'll go out to look.
Okay. As you're holding the ring, by the way, Beth, while I need to backtrack here for a second. While Bren was examining the ring, 80 felt emotions from it.
Oh.
And then the thud happened. Bren pokes his head up the hatch that leads to the upper deck, and the cool night air hits you. The suns have set at this point. There's still more than enough light for you to be able to see. Commonplace amongst Ysterra having 3 moons, there's a great deal of ambient light that's reflected off of them, and so it's very easy for people, even without dark vision, to see in the night. But the cold air of the evening is not what takes your breath away. It's the sight that you see. Crumpled near the helm is a figure, small of stature, barely clinging to consciousness. Their arm is draped across the broken helm of the ship. Their head is kind of lolling to the side a bit on their shoulder, and you see a very disheveled, shadowed figure.
I think if the girl gang was kind of like waiting for a sound, you hear Bren just go, "You gotta be kidding me." And that's it.
Do you move towards the figure, or?
Oh yeah, they see him
Okay.
shuffle out, and it's that, and you see him shuffle out. Yeah.
Do the rest of you follow?
Fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. As you all emerge on deck and see Bren stepping closer to this figure, their head lifts and you can see stark blue eyes. Very, very pained in their expression. And they're unfocused and they kind of drift around. And Vi, as you emerge, your eyes lock upon your friend Fig. You see the person that had disappeared so long ago, her once vibrant blue hair now dull and matted with sweat that clings to her pale, gaunt face. Each breath that she takes is shallow, laborious. It's as if just breathing is like a battle, and she is barely winning it. Her clothes are torn. She has dark bruises upon her, along with a few other more worrying wounds that mar her skin. She sees you, Vi, and she outstretches an arm and tries to speak, barely even a whisper escaping her lips before she winces in pain, the effort of moving too much. She falls forward upon the deck, collapsing, and it is extremely clear to you that she has endured quite a bit. It is fatigue, it's injury, and it's something more. Bren, you have an innate understanding of injuries and healing and all of that, and you instantly know that this figure, who you don't recognize, actually, let me clarify that. Does Bren recognize Fig?
Yeah.
Okay.
I know a Fig.
Yeah. So you
That's
do
why
recognize Fig.
his response. Yeah.
And you can see that Fig is gravely ill and quite possibly poisoned.
As soon as Violet locked eyes, she's already, before you even finished the description, she was like already over at Fig and is cradling her. And
Bren's gonna start attempting to
She
heal.
starts drifting in and out of consciousness as you scoop her up. She's trying her best to, perceive you, but at the moment, that's almost impossible for her. What did you say, Ian?
Brendan, that moment's going to attempt to heal, like knowing that she's poisoned and obviously, physically hurt. He's going to try to help that way.
Okay. I need, Ian, for you to make either a nature or arcana check. And I need for Deb and Beth for you guys to make either a religion or arcana check.
Figment, what are you doing here? How are you here?
There's no response from her as she is somewhat delirious.
Hey, Fig. Hey.
Who got what on those checks?
15 religion.
Okay.
I got a 13 arcana.
All right.
I got a 10 arcana.
Okay. As Bren moves forward and places his hand upon Fig, or Figment, as her full name actually is. As you place your hand upon Fig, Bren, and you start to unleash the aura of natural healing energies that you can summon from your connection to the stars, you all see a convulsion occur within Fig, and a gout of blood just spits up out of her mouth. 80 knows that Fig is cursed.
Oh, goodness.
This is a Phineas curse. It's a curse the clergy inflicts upon people to prevent them from being healed. She has seen this once before in some of her more illicit past. Bren, you have no idea what happens as the magic backlashes and actually causes harm instead of actually healing. You are aghast in this moment as you don't know what just happened. Mira is kind of in a state of shock herself. 80, you know that there's nothing that can be done.
Mira, can you like call out to the Ascendant or something? She can't be healed. We gotta do something.
Vi, as the cacophony of your friends around you, they're making noise, you can't hear it. You're focused entirely upon Fig's face. You see her. She's there. She's delirious, very, very injured, but she's there. You see her once again. The emotions start welling up within you. And then her eyes become focused, blood trickling from her mouth, and she looks at you, and she locks eyes. And you see a smile slowly start to form at the cracks, the edges of her mouth. And she reaches up a hand and places it upon your face.
Vi grabs it and just puts it against her cheek. And hey, what happened? Where have you been?
She starts to try to speak, but she coughs, and more blood starts to come out.
Fig.
And she looks up at you, her eyes focused still. And she brings up her other hand and places it in yours, still with her hand upon your face. And in a very croaked breath, she says, I'm sorry. She collapses weakly into your arms, and you hear her take her last breath.
Fig. No, hey, wake up. Hey,
You
Vig.
go to
Uh.
shake her, and you realize, clutched in your hand, when she reached up and held yours, as her hand fell away, you now hold a slightly bloodied and very crumpled piece of parchment.
Fig, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay. Hey, I'm gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. I'm gonna be okay. You're gonna be okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. And hey, I just
The rest of you see Fig limp in Vi's arms, unbreathing.
80 will brush Fig's hair back, straighten out some of her clothes a bit, and just put a hand on Violet's knee.
there was I had so much more to say. I needed her to know that I was okay. And I don't know if I'll get that chance. And Violet's just cupping her face and says, hey, I need you to know that I love you. And I'm okay. I have people that love me. And that I'm gonna be okay. And she just kind of starts rocking herself, just repeating, I'm gonna be okay. I'll be okay. Just holding on to Fig.
Do the rest of you do anything in this moment?
I just let her do it.
Mira's gonna kneel down and wrap an arm around Vi's shoulder. And just say, you're gonna be okay.
You all sit there in silence for several long moments. Vi realizes that she's squeezing the letter in her hand, given to her by the woman that she loved.
She's gonna take off her cloak and kind of just like a blanket, put it over Fig and move the hair out of her face and close her eyes and look at the note.
as you pull open this crumpled piece of paper in your hand, you can see Fig's blood upon it. Rattles you for a moment. But then you begin reading the letter. And in your subconscious, you hear the voice of your father as you read it.
My dearest flower violet, I am writing this with a heavy heart and an urgency that cannot be overstated. The clergy has begun a relentless pursuit, targeting anyone connected to me or your mother. It pains me deeply to involve you in this perilous situation, a burden I had hoped would never fall upon your shoulders. Please, you must leave immediately and hide. I regret that my past actions have brought this danger to your doorstep, and for that, I am profoundly sorry. I am doing everything within my power to draw their attention, to keep their eyes focused on me rather than searching for you. But should they find trace of you, they will not hesitate to use you as leverage. You know as well as I the lengths they will go to achieve their ends. Please, my dear, take every precaution. Change your appearance if you can, use aliases, move often. Avoid the paths and places we once traveled together, for those will be the first they search. Remember all I have taught you about staying hidden, about being smart and resourceful. Use that knowledge now. I will find you when the time is right, when it is safe. Until then, keep moving, and keep your head low. Stay safe, stay free, and remember that I am doing all I can to keep you safe. With all the love and urgency a father can bear. Read.
You all see Violet shaking as she's reading this crumpled, bloody letter in her hands.
Violet, as she doesn't have her hood on, she doesn't have her cloak on. She grabs a dagger from wherever and pulls at the back of her head and cuts her hair. And you can just see her shorn ears and lets it all kind of just drop onto the floor.
Adie brushes her hair back and doesn't say anything, but
I have to go now.
okay.
It's not safe.
We can take care of her, you know.
Please.
Yeah. Well,
I love you so much. Adie, you've been my only friend for a long time. I'm so grateful for our friendship. She'll turn over to Mira. I wish we had more time. But you're amazing, you know that? And then she'll turn over to Jawline and say, you've supported me for so long. After everything, you've been my only constant. And It feels awful leaving you, because I know how much or how lonely you can get, because I get lonely like that too. I'm sorry, but I love you.
You go do what you need to do. I'll be here when you get back. And then he grabs Violet in a hug. And then he grabs the other two in a hug. And it's the tightest hug that he's done, because he knows for a while he's not going to be able to do this with all three of them.
80 will stand in front of Violet and just say, just be careful out there, okay? We need you back in one piece. And I hope that you feel lighter out there. You're too special to be brought down by this place, so get out there and find whatever you need and come back to us. Okay?
And take this. Then the cloak that he handed him. You don't need to hide yourself anymore, but this will help you move a little faster. Also, you'll never need another weapon again. At least not for a while.
She'll put it on, but not put the hood up.
We're going to have so much time on the airship, you're going to be sick of me.
I don't think that could happen.
Mira's going to kiss Vi on the forehead. Your hair looks great.
Thanks. I love you all. Please take care of Fig, and I feel like I gotta go now.
Go. We've got everything here. Okay?
I'll message you when I can.
The day we don't hear from you, I'm sending Bren to come get you.
Promise?
Promise.
She spits in her hand.
Mira will spit in her hand and shake.
And Vi will take off.
Before you take off, Violet has the wherewithal to rush downstairs, scoop up the bag of holding, a few of her supplies, try to figure out which one of the rats is actually her friend, and grabs the journals as well. You all see Violet emerge as you stare down at Fig. She comes back up, spares each of you a last glance, and then pulls the hood up and disappears over the edge of the barge. None of you are perceptive enough to be able to know where she went, which direction. And in a way, that's kind of comforting. Because if you can't see the direction when you were staring at her, anybody else that might be on her tail probably can't either. You all do anything in these long, emotional, tear-filled moments?
Bren?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, could we bring Fig back to your place. Just out of here.
Yeah, absolutely. Brent starts kind of swaddling, I guess, for lack of a better term, Fig in Violet's cloak.
Mira's gonna take out the diamond.
All right.
And hold it out in the center of the group and kind of wordlessly invite Edie and Bren to touch it. And we'll just say, light watch over you, Vi.
As you say that, all three of you feel the rhythmic pulse, the heartbeat. And then you feel the patter of a second, fainter, but there. You can see light fill the space between you. Strong light. Welcoming, warm, before it fades. Mira pulls the gem back towards her. Edie has the sense at this moment to understand that if whatever threats were implied within that letter from Reed are even close to accurate, given what she knows of the power involved in cursing Fig in such a way, if they're coming looking, if they're following Fig, the place beneath you needs to be scrubbed of all notions that Violet was ever here. And so while Bren tends to Fig's body, Edie grabs Mira, and the two of you head down. You collect virtually every possession that you can see. All of the trinkets that Vi left behind that had come from the bag. Any personal effects that could be possibly attributed to Violet. Any remnants of her possessions, clothing, a favorite pillow, otherwise. You take these things, you stuff them into pillowcases or satchels or whatever you can find. You toss many things over the barge. And then you come back up on deck. Bren is effortlessly holding the body of Fig in his arms. Bren, you knew Fig. You knew that she was strong, and she feels so frail. Someone did great harm to this poor girl. A lot of you set out for the farm. It's a long road to take at night, especially carrying what you carry, the weight of everything, and I'm not talking about physical. It isn't maybe minutes past sun's rise, so you see them cresting over the distant eastern horizon before you reach the farm. Tired, exhausted, emotional, questioning, all of these things adding to your weariness. But there it is, the welcoming scene of Bren's farm, starting to come alive as the suns come up. And as you approach the fence that leads to the house, you see the door open, and a figure steps out. Someone that Bren instantly recognizes a woman named Sienna. And that's where we're going to call it tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us on this emotional roller coaster ride of an adventure. I hope that we get to see you all again very soon. Come back to us and watch what these amazing, amazing people get up to.